Hi all, a very good morning, good evening, good afternoon to all of you across the globe. This is Shakib Naeem from Markets and Markets, and today I got the opportunity to share my views around smart manufacturing related industrial 3D printing, the opportunities that are there by various cuts of analysis, geographies, end use industries, by types of technologies and materials that are being used. So very excited to to share a lot of that, and of course that is based on a good amount of research that has been done within markets in the last 5 6 years, especially on this area. Before doing that, let me give you a brief introduction about myself. I have close to 15 years of experience, and most of that has been into technology research. Prior to Markets and Markets, I was working with Hewlett and Packard, and it's been almost 5 years for me to work with Markets and Markets, and I'm closely, collaborating with many of the global giants, technology giants, and helping them strategize their digital transformation, strategies for their end customers. So that's a quick brief about myself, and also let me make you aware about the uniqueness of Markets and Markets, unlike other agencies. So I'll use a couple of slides before that, and after that I'll jump on to the agenda, where I'll help you brief the broad sections of the presentation of the webinar. So about Markets and Markets, we firmly believe that the old $25 trillion opportunities or economy or domestic product is going to get depleted by the new 25 trillion in the coming 5, 10, 20 years, and a lot of that is being covered by Markets and Markets. And as you can see, there's like huge list of mega trends or technologies or emerging markets, niche use cases such as connected enterprises, smart cities, vehicle diagnostics, sustainable packaging, including of course industrial 3D printing. These are the areas where a bunch of close to 1,000 analysts within Markets and Markets, they are tracking all these mega trends and technologies day in and day out, and helping our end customers in strategizing their future revenue streams. So a close to a 7,500 pool of customers which Markets and Markets is catering. As you can see from this list, within each of them, there's huge number of use cases, niche technologies. So close to 30,000 such technologies, use cases are being tracked, and we are helping our customers with that. To further, help you how Markets and Markets is different when it comes to only researching the emerging areas rather than the older ones or the previous revenue mix. So today's revenue mix is like new sources today are contributing say 20%, 15%, or say 30% of the overall organization revenue pie. But we firmly believe that this new sources contribution is going to increase. So this small green pie is going to become a big green pie in the near future. That can be 5 years, 8 years, 10 years down the line, and that will be disrupted by new use cases, technologies, ecosystems, product offerings, clients, partners. And there is a connected value chain. I mean, all these new use cases or new revenue streams are being impacted by our clients' customers and their customers. For example, a major technology giant is catering to an oil and gas company. An oil and gas company is being impacted by the disruption that's happening at its ends. That will have an impact over the tech giants' new future, new revenue streams or new offerings that are in the making. So, in a nutshell, we identify new sources for you. And when I say for you, it's Markets and Markets clients and their clients' clients. In today's session, now slightly, gradually I'm transitioning to the main agenda. I'll be focusing around four broad aspects. One is I'll help the audience and all of you understand the broad ecosystem, who are the players, what type of players that comprises the ecosystem. Second chapter or section is more to do with the dynamics. What are the trends? How is the market behaving and moving? And third one, which is the middle part of this slide, is the most important, where I'll throw some lights around the opportunities that are related to industrial 3D printing. And I'm in this session, I'll be specifically confining myself to the application of 3D printing within a smart manufacturing scenario, not a typical consumer level of application, which used to be the case in the previous 10 years. But now with the emergence of Industry 4.0, digital transformation, smart manufacturing, this becomes more critical and important. And I'll help you understand the opportunity by various offerings, materials, types of printers, by industry, and by geography. At the end, I'll also try to touch upon the competitive landscape, who are the major players, what kind of initiatives they are taking, what kind of strategies they are adopting, so on and so forth. So starting with the ecosystem, the market, as I mentioned, comprises of various players in the 3D ecosystem, namely the printer providers, uh, materials, and software. And when I say printer providers, they can be, of course, desktop printers. It can be industrial printers. It can be based on selective laser sintering technology, stereo lithography, so on and so forth. And when it comes to materials, again, very interesting, part of the overall game, where materials are playing a very crucial role in the in the evolution or emergence of these kind of applications. A lot of plastics, especially thermoplastics and photopolymers, are being used. Metals, very interesting. I'll throw some light in the middle of the presentation. Is expected to be a good lucrative opportunity when it comes to materials. And of course, there is a very critical and important component of software and services, where 3D scanning, simulation software, to some extent security and IP also comes into play, design and CAD, workflow software, so on and so forth. And of course, there are system integrators or no solution people who are, or the companies who are deploying the solutions over the client premise. And that client premise can be a automotive plant, it can be a aerospace and defense company, or a hospital, or architecture and construction, so on and so forth. Major players, most of you would be aware of that. But through this presentation, I'll also help you understand that what are their strengths and weaknesses, and where are they strong, where are they not. Stratasys, 3D Systems, Materialise, EOS, so on and so forth are the prominent players within this ecosystem. Now again, this chart is more to do with, as I mentioned, that within markets and markets there are various mega practices, be it IoT or 5G or 3D printing is one of them, and a good pool of analysts are tracking this mega trend. And these are the areas where we as a company have already researched around, and the initial or beginning tail of this thread, you can see, are the technologies or the areas which are nascent in nature. So things such as food printing, or automation in 3D printing. So we are talking about robotic process automation, or intelligent automation in across various components or functions of the enterprise. And 3D printing, of course, is one area where intelligent process automation is going to play a big role, but that's at a nascent stage. Concrete printing, so on and so forth. So these are the ones which are more nascent and more emerging in nature, as compared to 3D scanners or printing materials, or powders, or applications within automotive and printing, so on and so forth. Now, as I briefly touched upon, the players who are there, dominant in this field, I look at the overall industry from four broad categories. One is the pool or the set of companies that are providing the 3D printers. Another one could be considered as the material providers, of course, very important, and then software and service providers. Services is again very interesting thing to take notice of, although not a very big opportunity, but definitely I'll talk about that when I come to those sections. But of course, players such as Materialize and Autodesk are prominent within the software category. 3D Systems, Stratasys, Carbon. Carbon is a kind of I would say a startup, but very prominent and noticeable startup. These are the printer providers, and of course, when it comes to materials, the typical CNM companies, chemical companies, Arkema, the Tax, are the ones who are able to tap this market from the perspective of materials. Now, I'll try to touch upon the prominent trends that we are seeing these days, and how does it translate to opportunity. And again, following that, it will be supported by a few data points and forecast figures to help you understand what is the opportunity and what kind. Huge investment in 3D printing through startup companies, and of course, increased focus on high volume production using 3D printing are a couple of broad and prominent trends that we as markets seeing in the industry. This active sector of 3D printing has overall funding of close to 6.2 billion in more than 600 companies, where half of the funding, I would say slightly more than half of the funding, has been raised in the last 2-3 years. So that's the level of interest and focus that this sector is enjoying or witnessing from the prominent leaders, investors, and VCs. When it comes to high volume production, with the introduction, of course, and 3D printers have been introduced from decades ago, more than 2-3 decades since now. But initially, it used to be more of a small scale production, consumer level production. But we are seeing increasing trend of this technology being used for mass scale production, and that is where the real value of a 3D printing, especially in an industrial scenario or a smart manufacturing scenario, would come into play. For example, X1 introduced the new X1 metal 3D printer. Similarly, Desktop Metal and GE have their own shop system machines for high volume production. So a lot of product launches have been made around this to tap particularly the mass production aspect. Some of the companies using 3D printing to ramp up productions are, for example, GE for jet engines, medical devices, home appliances, Lockheed Martin, Boeing, of course, A&D, Aurora Flight Sciences, unmanned aerial vehicles, Invisalign is dental tools, and so on and so forth. So these many, I would say, players, prominent players, are using it for high volume productions. Other couple of things which we are seeing these days as a trend is ease in deployment of customized products. That's one. Significant demand for online printing, online 3D printing, and we can also term it as manufacturing as a service. That's a very interesting trend to note, and it also creates a lot of opportunity for other players who are not, I would say, a prominent existent entities, but they can definitely tap from things such as services that are being offered to the end customer in the form of manufacturing as a service. High demand for 3D printing software to produce industry grade parts. So of course, players who are not specifically or a typical 3D printing provider or are related to material, but there is opportunity for many of the Autodesk of the world who can help these printer manufacturers and materials companies in more precise level of reading the data and then converting that into an accurate physical object. Apart from that, this is more to do with the patent applications that have been there in the past, I would say 10 years. So the left hand side of this slide, the chart is more of a 10-year kind of scenario. where 2014, close to 6,000, 7,000 applications were filed for patents regarding to 3D printing. And till this year, the previous 5 years, compound growth rate was close to 21%. But the moment we look at 2019, close to four times, more applications were filed around the 3D industrial 3D printing space, close to 30,000, and with a CAGR of 33%. When I say that, that means the growth rate from 14 to 19 has been 33%. So huge amount of exponential growth in the filing of applications. The right hand side is more to do with the type of players. I mean, the players who are owning these. Patent families is more to do with the bigger category where different patents, unique patents fall into, and those can be also termed as applications. And within applications, you can have unique patents. So GE, HP, UTC, Siemens are the top companies who are owning a lot of patents, and this is till 2019. Post that, I'll slightly touch upon the kind of opportunities which are there, and of course, it has been elaborated and explained well in the following slides. Of course, as I mentioned in the beginning, that introduction of digital or smart manufacturing is one area which is driving and also acting as an opportunity for industrial 3D printing. So, leading corporates and consultants across the world are making significant investments in 3D printing knowledge and capability so that they can advise and join their clients in the industry 4.0 wave and revolutionize supply chains, product portfolios, business models in the process. A&D, of course, healthcare are a couple of I would say interesting and more opportunistic industry segments where 3D printing is being adopted very quickly. And I'll throw some light in the following slide and also try to showcase some of the data points around the same. So when it comes to smart manufacturing kind of scenario, of course, 3D printing plays a critical role in a overall framework of Industry 4.0, which comprises of big data, model simulation, cloud technology, augmented reality, industrial Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, robots, cybersecurity. So all these things have to go hand in hand, and 3D printing also becomes an important aspect of the same. Most manufacturing industries, I would say, are set to benefit from adoption of 3D printing technology. Other companies that are likely to benefit are consumer manufacturing, defense equipment manufacturing, healthcare companies, especially dental healthcare and prosthetics. Some of the facts about opportunity within the healthcare sector, but I'll try to reserve myself and talk more when I reach that section in the another slide. Adoption of 3D printing in industries such as automotive and aerospace and post-processing systems are another opportunities. I try to briefly touch upon those, but now this is the chapter and section I was talking about where you find more granular details. How does the opportunity look like, and what is the size, and who are the ones who are tapping the same. So in this section, I'm looking at opportunities, industrial 3D printing opportunities from three angles or perspectives. One is by offerings, and these offerings could be by materials, by printers, by softwares, and then of course end use industries and geography. So this is how the overall opportunity for industrial 3D printing looks like. So in 2020, we expect the market to be slightly more than $2 billion across the globe, growing at a 21% CAGR in the next 5 years. Interestingly, there was a dip of close to 8 to 10% in the previous market sizing estimates as compared to, when I say previous, it's 2019 as compared to 2020. And of course, we can understand that's because most of that has been because of the pandemic COVID-19. A lot of manufacturing setups were shut down, and supply chain came to a freeze for a good amount of time. So that's the reason of a 8 to 10% dip in 2019. But yeah, 2020 and especially going forward, we expect a good growth within the industrial 3D printing scenario, because the moment we completely come out of the pandemic, be it 3 months or 6 months down the line, there would be a significant pressure over the manufacturing entities and automotive sectors, and so on and so forth. And we have already started witnessing all those signs of additional pressure that is there to meet the demands, to bring back the supply chain in order, and so on and so forth. So when it comes to materials, growth in metal-based printing is expected to be greater than plastics and ceramics. So these are the broad 3-4 categories of materials: plastics, metals, and ceramics. Within metals, aluminum grabs maximum share, but alloy-based materials, especially nickel-based superalloy, will grow at faster rate. When it comes to plastic, thermoplastics such as nylon will witness decent growth within this category, and share of photopolymers on the other hand is expected to decrease in the next 5 years. As I talk about the software, though a smaller opportunity, I would say, as compared to printers and materials, but definitely a good opportunity for those who are not specialists in printer providers and materials. So printing software accounted for the largest share of the industrial 3D printing software in 2019. The market for scanning software is expected to grow at the highest CAGR within this software category. Of course, the industry average is close to 20-21%. So not a very decent or a very big opportunity for software players, but definitely an additional opportunity because of the new overall category that is being created, and which requires advanced and superior scanning skills for the printers. This is how the shipments look like. As I mentioned, that there was a dip in the overall shipments of industrial 3D printers, but it is expected to pick up pace and get back to the normal as it was expected and estimated in the previous times. That's that. And the shipments, of course, are in 1,000 units, so it's like in millions, so 2 millions and close to 3-4 millions in the past 4-5 years. But now it is expected to reach a 6 million kind of scenario in the coming 2-3 years. And now I'll throw some light around the materials. As you can see, plastics, metals, and ceramics. These are the broad 3 categories of I would say super categories of materials. And within plastics, we have thermoplastics and photopolymers. Within metals, we have again segmented that, and I'll try to touch upon the theme when I come to that. For example, yeah, so this is a breakdown of plastics. So thermoplastics is something which is expected to be more, I would say, preferred by the end customers. So its share is going to increase from 56% in 2020 to 59% in the next 5 years, and especially within that polylactic acid (PLA). It is one of the most used thermoplastics in 3D printing, and environmentally friendly and biodegradable polymer created from plant sugars, crops such as tapioca and corn sugarcane. This material can be printed using a print bed covered with painter's tape and does not require a heated build plate. Nylon, again, is a strong and durable type of thermoplastics and much in demand. In industrial 3D printing, it is mainly used for jigs and fixtures, toolings, and short-run production of components for industries such as aerospace and automotive. When it comes to metals, within the material category, as we can clearly see that aluminium and titanium are contributing more than half of the overall materials market. And aluminium has excellent corrosion resistance properties, making it an ideal material for outdoor applications, especially with high electrical and thermal conductivity capabilities. Titanium models are printed using titanium powder that is sintered together by a laser beam uh, to produce end-use metal parts that are good as machine models. Direct metal laser sintering, DMLS, is the technique used to design a 3D model with titanium. Applications, I would say, is like typical medical and automotive and spare parts, in addition to aerospace. When it comes to software, four broad categories: printing, design, inspection, and scanning. So, when it comes to printing software, three types of printing softwares are available in the markets: file preparation, part preparation, and control software. The file preparation software prepares STL and stereolithography controls files to develop the product design. And as you can see, it's a considerable opportunity, and also growing at a decent growth rate, close to 14%. And as compared to the scanning part, though a small opportunity, but yeah, considerable growth as compared to the other three areas within the software. This is another way of looking at the industrial 3D printing market. It is by application. So one application can be prototyping, the other one can be manufacturing. And of course, with the advent of industrial 3D printers, prototyping used to be the ones in demand. But now, as I mentioned in the previous sections, that mass manufacturing is coming into play. So hence, the manufacturing application of 3D printing is supposed to be more lucrative. So you can imagine that in the next 5 years, the share of manufacturing application of industrial 3D printing is going to increase from 40% to 45%. Of course, prototyping would still be the majority, but the share is going to decrease from 60 to 55% in the next 5 years. Again, an interesting chapter, which is more to do with the opportunities by industries. So this is how the opportunity looks like when we see from the end customer's perspective. So aerospace and defense, we can understand, has to be one of the end customers or verticals that is the major adopter. In addition to that, automotive, printed electronics, and very interestingly, healthcare. And lot many companies, which I'll try to showcase in the coming slides, are showing a good amount of interest in the healthcare sector. So uh, comparatively, it is growing at a fastest pace. I would say 25% CAGR for the next 5 years. A decent opportunity that's going to be a quarter less than a billion in the next 5 years. And the market for healthcare is, as I mentioned, is expected to grow at the fastest rate. Several medical products, surgical equipments, prosthetics, implants, and tissue engineering products are the application areas of industrial 3D printing within this segment. When it comes to automotive, this industry also offers ample opportunities, as it faces a huge gap. This industry faces a huge gap between tooling and automobile production. So that's one area where industrial 3D printing can really help the auto companies in production of complex small parts and sub-assemblies, engine components such as intake manifolds and cylinder heads, engine blocks for both visual analysis and quality control, so on and so forth. Now, I'll try to touch upon in depth. I mean, not in depth exactly, but yeah, try to go a bit granular about those four industries, the top industries which we saw in the previous slide. I'll start with aerospace and defense. So, uh, you know, by printers or materials, there are few interesting things to note. Similarly, the common application and the prominent players. So when it comes to printers or materials in general, powders of metals such as stainless steel, aluminium, titanium, and alloys, as well as variety of plastics and composites are most widely used in various applications. These metal 3D printing machines are quite complicated and expensive than their other counterparts, as they use lasers to melt metal powders to build up the parts. So this is also associated with a higher cost of metal powders than that of plastic. But of course, A&D segment or sector is can afford to spend on that, and that's why there is a good opportunity for metals. And now it is not because of the advancement of various technologies, it is now reflecting in other sectors as well. Common applications when it comes to A&D, unique abilities of 3D printing technology to manufacture complex parts such as jet wings, engine parts, space telescopes, metal guns, so on and so forth. So these are the prominent ones. Boeing, for example, rolled out its plan to develop cheaper satellites using 3D printing. In some cases, aerospace models have been used in production units to minimize tooling costs. Prominent players, substantial investment, as I mentioned, by well-established corporates such as GE via its venture arm, GE Ventures, as well as other venture capitalists, including GV, BMW, iVentures, Lowe's, would further help in bringing the unexplored potentials of metal 3D printing in the aerospace and defense industry. When it comes to automotive, metal and special plastics are the most widely used materials in the manufacturing of automobiles. For example, Ford used digital light synthesis, 3D printing technology, and epoxy to manufacture parts of its 2020 Mustang GT 500 sports car. Italian company XEV used large format FDM technology in 4 different grades of polyamide and TPU for its electric vehicles, and was able to reduce cost by 70%. So we can clearly see that it is a connected ecosystem. Now, the moment we talk about electric vehicles, it becomes very important that what kind of disruption is going to happen within the automotive industry when it comes to electric vehicles, and what would be the impact over the 3D printing providers. And that's why, in the initial parts or sections of this presentation, I mentioned that we are helping our clients understand their clients' changing revenues and their clients' revenues. So yeah, so just touch upon that aspect. Common applications within automobiles, of course, is like make use to replace damaged or rusted parts and enhance the life of an automobile. Several companies such as Bentley, Ford, BMW have adopted 3D printing technology to manufacture end-use parts for their cars. Stratasys has wide portfolio of 3D printers to cater to various needs of automotive customers. Players like Envision TEC employs many engineers who previously worked in the automotive industry. Its engineering team in Michigan has more than 60 combined years of experience working directly for OEMs in Metro Detroit. So the point is, a lot many companies are targeting these end use customers by building capabilities, hiring specialist engineers and scientists that have worked throughout their lives in the given sector to make superior solutions for that particular industry. Printed electronics, of course, again is a interesting opportunity to note down, but yeah, slightly different from the likes of aerospace and defense. So common electronic materials, including the conductor, dielectric, resistor, and semiconductor inks, can be processed to print sensors, antennas, shielding transistors, solar cells, so on and so forth. And interesting thing about this vertical, I would say, is like the growing need of IoT devices. So that's one thing which is very important to note within this category, because a lot many companies are manufacturing and making sensors and antennas that are going to embed inside a IoT device, and that IoT device can be an access point, it can be a gateway or a router, or so on and so forth. There are ample amount of number of devices that are going into a IoT ecosystem, and now many companies are tapping this opportunity to manufacture these sensors and antennas with the help of 3D printing. For example, Opto plans to focus on IoT devices which require sensors and antennas. So its process allows for rapid design and prototyping of IoT devices, providing a solution for a wide variety of IoT applications. The company claimed that its process can reduce manufacturing steps, associated costs, and provide a wide range of material possibilities for the players who are manufacturing sensors and antennas for IoT devices. When it comes to healthcare, materials used in the healthcare industry consists of metals, polymers, and ceramics. Materials such as strong and durable plastics are used to manufacture surgical instruments. However, implantable metals are used to manufacture implants such as acetabular cups, knee or hip implants, while ceramics are used to fabricate dental crowns. Uh, Common applications, that I touched upon, is used to manufacture several medical products, surgical equipments, prosthetics, implants, tissue engineering products. Also used in orthopedic, dental, and you know uh, craniomaxillofacial applications in the field of medicine. Please forgive me for my lack of expertise in the medical field, but yeah, definitely, and that's one application where it has got good adoption. As technology becomes more accessible and the benefits to physicians and patients are further appreciated, more hospitals are choosing to invest resources in 3D printing infrastructure as an enabler of personalized healthcare. Again, this is another trend which a typical a 3D printing manufacturer or a material provider would be less aware of, and this is where the connected ecosystem or the cascaded impact of the disruption that's happening at a client's end is going to have an impact over the vendor. So personalized healthcare is a big trend within the healthcare industry, and we can see that industrial 3D printing, interestingly, has a role to play to enable that end objective of the healthcare companies, especially hospitals. Prominent players, Materialize, of course, is one player who is paying a good attention to the healthcare industry. In addition to that, HP is another who is also tapping the healthcare end use customer. Now, there are a few opportunities by geographies. I'll quickly touch upon that. Of course, North America contributes close to 40% of the overall opportunity. US is the leader within that, and it's a lot because of the venture capitalists that are spending over this region. When it comes to Europe, Germany is the leader, followed by UK and France, and of course, Germany being the automotive hub, it becomes a very important opportunity for industrial 3D printing scenario. China, across all the globe, it is growing at a fastest pace. It's a analogy of healthcare sector by geography. So growing at a 24% CAGR, and a lot of factors are there behind its growth. For example, Made in China 2025 is one critical thing that's going to drive the growth. Within South America, Middle East, I mean, comparatively lesser opportunities are there, but definitely oil and gas companies are lucrative options for Middle East, and South America is anyway the largest producer of titanium ore, so that becomes that creates a good opportunity from materials perspective. Stratasys 3D systems are the prominent players. In addition to that, Materialize. So this is kind of mapping of the leadership. Y-axis is the strength of the portfolio, and X-axis is the strategy. So Stratasys 3D systems and EOS are very strong in both the axes. They have good product portfolio and they have very good business strategy in terms of partnerships and acquisitions. Some of the updates around their strategic initiatives. And last but not the least, Desktop, Carbon, Markforged, and XYZ Printing are the noticeable startups who are doing some good amount of work in this activity, in this field. Sorry. So this is how I would like to summarize my presentation. So if you ask me in a nutshell, healthcare industry is definitely one end use in the category which creates a good opportunity, and China is definitely something which should be looked upon and tracked in the coming 3-4 years. It's going to disrupt the market. So yeah. Thank you so much. That's it from my end. Hope you found or you will find these insights helpful. In case of any question, any explanation, I'll be very happy to respond to that. And there are various channels to do that. You can write a mail, you can get in touch with NASSCOM, and it will be my privilege and honor to answer that.
Thanks, Shikeb, for your sharing your time and experiences with us. To our audience, Shikeb is available in the networking lounge for interaction. So do avail the chat option available at your end to interact with him. Thanks, Shikeb, for your time.
Thank you so much. It was my pleasure.